Good afternoon and welcome to the February 20th Oklahoma City Economic Development Trust meeting. First item is calling this meeting to order. Item 2 is minutes from the November trust meeting. Are there any questions or comments on the minutes? If not, we can take a motion. We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. The item passes. Brings us to item 3 on the agenda, the ratification of claims. If there's no comments, we can take a motion. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. And the item passes. Brings us to item 4, which is items for individual consideration. Item 4A is the Economic Development Agreement with Fairground Flats, LP, for the Fairground Flats Affordable Housing Project, consisting of a new 216-unit of affordable housing complex, not to exceed $2 million gold bonds. Mr. Sudol?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just as a reminder, the allocation for this was approved back in August. This is structured as a forgivable loan. There's some conditions that have to be met, such as completion, 25% occupancy, and then it's a 20-year deal that over time the loan would be forgiven if they maintain this as an affordable housing project. So it would be over $47 million worth of investment. So other than that, pretty standard.
Any comments or questions? If not, we can take a motion on item 4A. Please cast your votes. The item passes. Brings us to item 4B, an economic development agreement with U.S. Venture Incorporated in exchange for its establishment of a new distribution center located at Southwest 15th Street and MacArthur Boulevard, for its commitment to create approximately 40 new quality jobs over the next 4 years, not to exceed $400,000.
Yeah, so this one was one that was approved, the allocation back in October of 2021. It would facilitate approximately $14.5 million of investment, 40 jobs, average wages of over 57,000. It's a pretty typical GOLP project, so pay for performance.
Thank you. Any comments, questions? If not, we can take a motion. Please cast your votes. The item passes. Brings us to item 4C on the agenda, Economic Development Agreement with 1 Northwest 6th LLC, the developer, for the NOVA project, not to exceed $765,000 TIF. Mr. Sudol?
Yes, so this one, again, was approved, the TIF allocation on August of 2022. As a reminder, this is the really cool concept where it's a grocery store with the 20 loft apartments on top, the parking structure with the greenhouse. Not that all of our projects aren't cool, but this one's very unique. And this one is in TIF 2, so it does provide 100% of the TIF, but not to exceed $765,000. Pretty standard terms.
No questions, comments? If not, we can take a motion. First and second, please vote. And the item passes. Brings us to item 4D. Receive the development plan submitted by OKC 577 LLC for the development of the 577-acre property.
Yes, sir. So I want to give you some background on this. I know we had an item related to this last time, but just as a reminder, back in February of 2021, there was a memorandum of agreement between this body and the Oklahoma Industries Authority to provide funding to purchase this site that we refer to as the 577 site, which is 577 acres around 240 and Eastern. In November of 2021. We actually acquired the site, or OIA acquired the site in summer of 2021, In November, OKC 577 LLC was approved as the developer, which is Mark Beffert, Dick Tannenbaum, Brett Price are the individuals that make up that group. We entered into a master development agreement with them in March of 2022. Part of that development agreement, one of the requirements was that they submit a development plan. And this development plan was to contain several things: a proposed plat, proposed restrictive covenants, marketing plan, a pro forma schematic site plan, description of improvements that they propose to construct, the name of their construction team, estimated cost to fully build out the project, and a schedule and narrative describing their strategy to implement this. And so that was really important, this plan, and the plan had to be approved by OIA, which it was approved last week by OIA. It's coming today to be received by this body because we want to make sure and keep you informed about it, and it really governs kind of how this site will be developed going forward, not only by Mark and his team, but any subsequent owners. As a reminder, some of the terms, that they will have a master ground lease that just, and this is not part of the development plan, but just again as a reminder, as those parcels are sold off, those funds would come back to the OCEDT. Or if parcels are leased to an end user, then that property would be conveyed back to OCEDT, and the associated revenues come back to OCEDT. So just it's very, very interesting partnership between OCEDT and OIA. So with that, Mark was going to come present to you all today the development plan, just kind of give you more information about what we've got queued up for this site.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'll just get right into it. So OKC 577, as Kenny said, is a joint venture between OIA, the Alliance, Dick and I, and Brett Price. So this site's key for Oklahoma City because it's the largest tract of undeveloped land in the city limits. And it is currently zoned I-2 for primarily industrial. And our plan really is about creating new manufacturing jobs here. So, and the location here is really critical as well. It sits right at pretty much the corner of I-240 and I-35, and right next to the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad Hub. And we've had, you'll hear just in a second, I've talked to them about extending into the property to serve the property with rail. So, actually, this didn't work out. So can you back up a little bit? The annotations didn't get here. Well, I'll just walk us through here. So this particular site, we've been spending the last 6 to 7 months working through all the logistics on the site. If you look up at the site plan, Site J are existing oil wells. And we're burdened by that and have to work around each one of those 3 different sites there. So that allowed us to, kind of gives us a dividing point between what we call the North Tract and the South Tract. So we're building that feeder road, which is labeled T on the site. That will be what we call a spine road. That will be 4-laned island with walking and biking paths along it, because the idea for the entire park is to create a high-end upscale park that really attracts large-scale, high-end industrial users and have it friendly with amenities throughout the park. Some of the challenges we have is there are ONG and OG&E high transmission gas lines running through the site that we have to relocate, as well as Burlington Northern has a cell tower on the site that has to be relocated. We're also building a frontage road on the site. So there is not a frontage road that is on the north edge of the site or south I-240. So we're building the frontage road. You can see that we're building the spine road, as well as we have an arterial road that runs north and south through the middle of the property to increase the flow of traffic. The final issue on this site that really poses some challenges where there's a significant amount of wetlands that we got a determination from Corps of Engineer, which took quite a bit of time. We actually just got that about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So we got a determination that we can get rid of all the water on the site, with the exception of the big blue water feature up at the north end. That is a protected wetlands. So that will really create our amenity package, where we'll have several different amenities, as well as we have 2 other blue highlighted areas that will have amenities where there's basketball courts, pickleball courts, or volleyball and stuff like that. The entire park will have, again, biking trails and walking trails to allow people to connect through and get to the amenities. This gives you an example of what our budget cost is. So we are going to spend about $88.9 million, and it was wisely pointed out by Clay Bennett at OIA. It says, what's your motivation to get this site done? Well, our motivation is to get our $88 million back. So, and you probably remember, but our agreement with you is 25% of every sale comes back to you. And we really need to sell sites at $3.50 to $4 a foot just to get our money back. So we have high motivation to ensure we have a high quality site to get our money back, pay you, and ultimately pay our taxes and make a little bit of profit. So here's our timeline. We started in January 22. Really, it's March when we actually had our master development agreement signed. We've defined all of our infrastructure. And we're ready to start construction. We're going to start the construction on the Spine Road. We're going to buy Site I, which is in build spec, 3 different industrial facilities on that site, and that'll front right on I-240. And we also are going to sell a site to Lock Supply. Lock Supply is going to kick off the development on a 1.5 million square foot facility. So with our site and Lock Supply, that in building the feeder road and I-40, relocating all the utilities, really is going to kick this site off. And right now it's just a piece of dirt that people can't envision. We have to get started because activity breeds activity in real estate. So a little bit of marketing strategy, probably won't go into a lot of it, but we're a national firm, actually international firm. We'll use our network to help market this. We've worked with the Chamber of Commerce very closely with them on a day-to-day basis. They've been great partners with us. And then lastly, this is our team. Johnson Associates is the civil engineer. Site architect is Pascal Autry. We haven't determined who our landscape architect is, but we'll get to that. Most likely it'll be Scott Fairbairn, Howard Site Design. We're doing all the infrastructure project management ourselves with our team, and then Van Hoos will do the vertical construction both on our Site I as well as the Lock Supply. But we're very flexible, not tied to any one particular developer, because we want each individual manufacturer to select who they want. And we have developed a draft document of our CC&Rs, the covenant conditions and restrictions, to ensure that we have tremendous oversight. Also, any site we want to sell has to come back to Kenny for his approval. So this is a true partnership between all of us. So thank you. Any questions?
Any questions for Mark?
Mark, you probably showed it on the previous slide, but the timing for your spec locations in Lock Supply being up and ready.
Yeah, we plan to buy from you guys or ourselves Site I in February, and we want to be up and done by January of 2024. And the challenge with Lock Supply, they're on the south side, right where the ONG and OG&E high transmission lines are, as well as the Burlington Northern Santa Fe cell tower. We're trying to figure out if we can start construction prior to those complete relocation of those lines. But we don't anticipate until January 25 that Lock Supply will be done. But our Spine Road will be done by mid-year next year, and our I-40 frontage road will be done by mid of next year. So,
Cool. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? When you say January,
of 23, yeah.
yeah, what day in January are we planning on?
You're in the development business. You
Yeah,
can't
that's
give
why I'm
that
asking. Give me that date. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it very much. All right, if we have no other comments or questions on item 4D, I guess we can make a motion to receive. We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. And the item passes. Brings us to item 5 on the agenda, General Manager's Report. Mr. Sudel?
Yes, sir. I don't have really anything unique to call out. It's a pretty standard report. It's got all the financial information and project status. So if there's anything anyone has specific questions on, Joanna or I will try to answer. Pretty standard this month.
Thank you. Next up is item 6, comments from staff. Any comments from trustees?
Just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We'll see you next year.
I would just echo those same items and thank everyone for your hard work and keeping Oklahoma City moving forward. Fantastic. Any citizens sign up to speak today? No? All right, with that, we'll move to item 7, and we are adjourned.